For my from tutorial group 1, from tutorial 1 group 50, and we'll be talking about addressing the environmental impact of fast fashion, shifting from consumer habits and industry practices toward sustainable clothing. I'll be talking about the context and the introduction. In the introduction, the global fashion industry has grown in recent decades from an estimated $1.5 trillion in 2020 to a projected $2.25 trillion by 2025. This phenomenon is largely driven by a model called fast fashion, and fast fashion refers to a rapid production of inexpensive clothes by mass market retailers to meet the latest trends. Its affordability and stylish design make it highly attractive to broad consumers like H&M, Zara, Forever 24, Forever 21, Shein, and others sell this kind of clothing, which is mass produced using cheap materials. The rapid expansion of fast fashion has significantly contributed to a surge in global clothing consumption, especially in developed nations. The emergence of a circular fashion model emphasizing cradle-to-cradle practices, sustainable materials, and ethical labor conditions is gaining popularity as a response to the growing environmental and social concern associated with traditional fashion. And the context, the textile and fashion industry is a major global economic sector, ranking second in the world in worldwide consumption with an estimated annual output of over 30 million tons. The production of clothing and textile involves a complex and extensive supply chain encompassing various stages from agricultural production to retail, including petrochemical production for fiber manufacturing processes, and logistics. The effects of the fashion industry on the environmental and extensive are varied. The activities of the industry have harmed the environment, resulting in the emission of harmful chemicals and microplastics, as well as a depletion of natural resources like freshwater, lands, and raw material. Furthermore, the fast fashion industry linear economy cradle-to-cradle model promotes a mass production and disposal cycle, making sustainability efforts especially unless significant adjustments are made to the supply chain and consumers' behavior. Thank you. My colleague will be taking on the next slide.
My name is Esther Obebo, and I'll be taking on the next slide, data and data analysis. This proposal aims to analyze the environmental consequences of disposable fashion and propose sustainable alternative for clothing production and consumption. By examining the factors influencing fast fashion demands, identifying its primary environmental impacts, and evaluating potential solutions, this proposal seeks to inform policy development and decision making. Our methodology: the proposal will rely on qualitative data sources to provide a comprehensive analysis. Qualitative research excels at gathering in-depth and subtle information for participants. The data collection method: this study will utilize secondary data as the primary data collection method. Secondary data obtained from published sources can be gathered through both qualitative and quantitative means, including interview reports and census data. The theoretical framework: the figure below shows the global ecological footprint, biocapital, ecological defect, and ecological reserve. ecological footprint analysis. This framework measures the ecological impact of human activities, including resource usage combined with waste production, by assessing the ecological footprint of fast fashion. The graph chart is a representation of the global ecological footprint and biocapacity from 1961 to 2022. The key trends and observations are increasing ecological footprint, overshoots, growing ecological defeat. The ecological defeat, which is the difference between the ecological footprint and biocapacity, has also increased significantly over time. This indicates that the gaps between our demand for resources and earthly supply is widening. Diminishing ecological reserve. The ecological reserve, which represents the amount of earthly biocapacity, declines steadily. This suggests that we are depleting Earth's natural capacity at an alarming rate. Thank you. My colleague will take on the next slide.
All right, my name is Blessing Chemele Nwankwo. I'm here to take on the next slide. I'm here to talk about the bar chart for the global ecological footprint. Okay, from the bar chart, we can see we have the food, the housing, the mobility, the goods, the services, government, and capital investment, and infrastructure. Now, to explain this bar chart. For the explanation of this bar chart, it represents the global ecological footprint by consumption category. It breaks down the ecological footprint into several categories of mass consumption, which I've named, which are food, housing, mobility, goods, services, government, and capital investment and infrastructure. In each bar of this diagram, it represents the per capita ecological footprint for a specific category, with the various colors within each bar indicating the contribution of different environmental components, which are the carbon, the built-up land, the fishing grounds, the forest products, the grazing products, and the cropland. Now we have the key findings, which are the food. Under the food category, it has a substantial footprint, primarily dominated by cropland, which the color of the cropland is yellow, and then the carbon. There is also a noticeable contribution from grazing products and a minor contribution from fishing grounds and built-up land. Then under the housing category, is significantly impacted by the carbon component, with the built-up land contributing to a lesser extent. Under the mobility, is dominated mostly by the carbon component, and this suggests that transportation is heavily dependent on fossil fuels, leading to high carbon emissions. Under the goods category, it shows a very moderate ecological footprint, primarily from carbon and cropland, with minor contributions from forest products. Under the service category, it has a relatively smaller footprint, with carbon being the most significant contributor. Now, under the government, you have that the category has just a smaller footprint, with carbon and built-up land as the main contributors. Now, the last but not the least, we have the capital investment and infrastructure, and this category has the highest ecological footprint according to the bar chart, with significant contributions from carbon, built-up land, and cropland. There is also a noticeable amount of forest products and grazing products used in this category. Now on to the next slide. After the qualitative secondary collection method, we analyzed 40 academic journal articles through thematic analysis. And this thematic analysis is just the examination of themes which can include narratives contained in dataset accounts. Now, the initial step involved familiarizing ourselves with the data by locating relevant research studies, establishing search terms based on expert opinions and background information, and beginning with an overview of fast fashion, ethical and environmental considerations within the contemporary fashion industry. Through searches on research science, we got to find out that about ResearchGate, how to find about the ResearchGate, the Science Direct, and Google Scholar. And from there, we identify relevant publications. And the summary of this whole data analysis led to the identification of recurring themes and patterns within the collected data. And with this, I'll be calling up my next presenter. Thank you.
My name is Kelechi Opara, and I'll be talking about the key terms identified. First of all, we talk about the environmental impact of fast fashion. And under that, we have water, carbon, and energy footprint. We have land use and landfill. And we can go to the second part, which has consumer behavior and its impact. We have a shift in consumer preference. And third, we have sustainability and ethics practices. Sustainability fiber, we have circular income and waste reduction. All this can help the company in terms of when we reduce the waste products in the environment. Fourth, we have challenges in achieving the sustainability, which has systematical barriers, greenwashing, we have economic pressure, we have technology and infrastructural challenges. These are things that can affect sustainability, which if you don't have a adequate technology, it can affect the production of fast fashion, and it affects the ecosystem. And I'll call on my colleague to take the next slide, which is conclusion and recommendation.